because they're just introducing all these new characters. Obviously, they're not out yet. Maybe once they are out, I'll have a better opinion about them. But as of this current moment, it's not appealing. It doesn't really feel like it's building anything. I guess we'll see with Ant-Man. The quality isn't as good. It's not as authentic, and it just doesn't feel good. What's good, guys? How are we doing today? Welcome back to Chillin with Dylan. This is episode number 6, I believe. And today I wanted to talk about Marvel movies and how they're going downhill where they used to be, if they can get better. And yeah, it's a little different from the normal episodes on this channel, but as I've stated, I like to talk about literally anything. So today we're choosing Marvel. If you like Marvel, hit up that like button, subscribe if you are new. If you're on Spotfiy, follow up. And yeah, I want to try something new. I see other podcasters do this. Viewers send in questions and they answer the questions, and I think that'd be pretty fun to do. So if you're not on YouTube, you can just DM me some questions on Instagram. I'll put the Instagram right here on the screen for YouTube. And of course, for the non-YouTube listeners, my Instagram is Dylan Dalton, DYLAN DALTON_. And so if you guys have any questions you want me to answer, if you have any topics I should talk about, hit me with those. I'd love to do it. Love to get some viewer suggested topics to talk about. And yeah, the podcast is still pretty new, so we're still figuring it out. But anyways, that's enough talking. Let's get right into it. So Marvel Entertainment, the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's had a big impact on my life. I think the first time I ever watched a Marvel movie, I was probably 8, and it was Iron Man. And I would pretend to carry around a little battery with me. I would pretend to have the little arc reactor that he has in his chest. And I remember one time I forgot to pick up my battery when we were traveling. And so I drove 4 hours home, and my battery was clear back there. And I don't remember what I did, but I freaked out when I was 8. It was funny. And then I watched Spider-Man, and then Hulk, and then the end credit scenes were cool. Seeing the big superheroes on screen were dope. And then finally in 2012, they all teamed up together for the Avengers and saved the city from aliens and nuked alien mothership. And it was just absolutely mind-blowing. 11 years old, seeing that on the big screen, watching Iron Man carry a nuke into space, watching Hulk save him when he falls back down, Thor with the lightning, Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye, all of them. It was just a different time. It was something I'd never seen in movies. I'm sure anyone really hadn't seen in movies. And the story was super cool. Coulson died, Loki, and then you got your end credit scene with Thanos. And it was just super sick. And I remember as a kid always wanting Spider-Man to be part of the Avengers. But back then I didn't know that there were 2 different universes, I guess. And I didn't know Sony owned Spider-Man. I didn't know any of that. But those Marvel movies as an early kid, they were definitely influential on me. And I think they were for a lot of people. And they really just hit home with everybody. And my parents liked watching them with us. My grandparents liked watching them with us. And just everyone loved the superhero movies. And then after Avengers, you get to Thor 2, Captain America 2, Iron Man 3, all those. The new characters start coming in, Black Panther, Doctor Strange. And then eventually they start with their end credit scenes and everything else they're doing. They start building a massive universe to build up to this one story point, which is Infinity Saga, right? Which obviously ends with Thanos snapping everybody in Infinity War, and then an Endgame. They all come back. Iron Man dies. We love you 3000. It's a beautiful scene and a beautiful cap off to the entire last, 10, 15 years of them making the movies. And I cried. I still cry every time I watch Iron Man die. And Endgame was the perfect cap for the Infinity Saga. And if it wasn't Hollywood, it'd be the perfect wrap on a beautiful movie franchise. But since it is Hollywood, we got to keep producing new movies and new content that just don't really add anything to that story. They're a new story. And then it just gets all weird and blurry because it is Hollywood. So now quantity is more important than quality. And all these side characters start popping up. And it's like, it's not building anything like it used to. Because that Endgame, bro, that Endgame scene, Cap comes out, he says, Avengers, assemble. They all start running to Thanos. I don't think there'll ever be another moment like that in movie history or Marvel history, honestly. Like, even with these 2 new Avengers movies they got coming up, it will not top Endgame. I know that. The entire fate of the world was literally on the brink, I guess, you know? Like, the Stones, it was almost game over again. And it was just beautiful. That's all I got to say about it. But so the Infinity Saga wrapped up, you know? Iron Man's dead, Black Widow's dead, Cap is old now, kind of shriveled up. And now we got our new age of Marvel. We've already had, I think so far, we had WandaVision come out, Loki, Doctor Strange, Multiverse Madness, Thor, Love and Thunder, Black Panther 2, No Way Home. I personally am really bad at watching TV shows. I just can't do it. Anytime I sit down to watch a show, I'll always end up like not finishing halfway through. Just how I work. I don't know. It's with any show, literally. except for The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones. But I just can't finish shows. So I tried to watch WandaVision. I tried to watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I tried to watch Loki. I tried to finish all of those. Just couldn't do it. They were good content. Some of the scenes, some of them were weird. But I don't know. It didn't really feel very Marvel-y. It felt more TV sitcom. It just didn't feel like it was in the Marvel universe. Then you get No Way Home, Multiverse of Madness, and Thor. I'll start with Thor first. Thor just kind of felt like a money grab, just comedic. There was a little bit of a purpose. You had Gore the God Butcher. I'm pretty sure he never killed a single god, and he didn't really have much of a story there. I mean, he did. His daughter died, but it's one of those movies where it just adds a character that has no point except for that movie. Like, it adds nothing else to the broader story, I guess. Multiverse of Madness was a direct reaction to No Way Home. It was cool to see the new multiverses. It was cool to see America, I think her name is, America Chavez, and her powers. It was super cool to see a horror type movie by Sam Raimi, obviously, but also in the Marvel universe. And like, it was a good one. You know, I enjoyed seeing Evil Strange. I enjoyed seeing the council. I forgot their names. Professor Xavier, Fantastic Four, dude. I'm really bad at the names of these guys, but it was nice. It was a new look at Marvel. Had a cool concept. I love the multiverse concept. I don't know. It didn't feel like the old ones. Spider-Man No Way Home, definitely my favorite movie of all time for Marvel, at least. 3 Spider-Man in there. Perfect comedy, perfect story. Great power comes great responsibility, evil villains coming back, and oh god, it was just such a beautiful movie. Phase 4 of Marvel, the only good thing that came out of that was Spider-Man No Way Home. Spider-Man's my dog, right? I don't like anyone as much as I like Spider-Man just because he's a goat, you feel me? And No Way Home, beautiful movie. And we can talk completely differently about No Way Home, but the only good thing out of Phase 4 was No Way Home. It was a good story, beautiful concept, well executed. And with Black Panther now, Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, was a good, I guess, tribute to Chadwick Boseman. Super sad, right? We love the Black Panther. Very sad that he died, obviously. The movie did very good at paying respects to him. And I guess I won't go too much into spoilers just in case you haven't seen it yet. But they introduced some new characters. It has a good character arc for the main character. It's another one of those kind of like Thor. It's like a little subplot, little sub-villains that you never seen before. They come, they fight, they make up, and it's another one of those movies that just kind of stands alone, but it doesn't really feel like it's building to much else. And it was a perfect movie to honor Chadwick Boseman. The main character as Black Panther was super cool. They added a character named Ironheart, and I just wasn't a big fan of Ironheart because in the comics, Ironheart is actually Tony Stark's daughter, and in Black Panther, Ironheart has no connection whatsoever to Tony Stark, creates an entire Iron Man suit, doesn't say a single word about Iron Man, and just kind of puts the suit on, starts kicking ass, and that's literally it. So it didn't really add anything to me personally. I know they got a whole TV series coming out for that, but it was just felt a little disrespectful to me personally, just because they didn't even mention Tony Stark at all. She just created an entire suit, but besides the point. And so yeah, I guess it's just the whole point I'm trying to make is I'm no longer a kid, right? So the movies don't feel the same to me as they once did. Like Shang-Chi was good and Spider-Man No Way Home was good. Probably my only two favorite things that came out of Phase 4. And it just doesn't feel like Marvel anymore. It just feels like they have their 2 biggest players out of the game now. Iron Man and Captain America, both of them are gone. Out of the original Avengers, 3 of them are gone. All you got left is Hawkeye, Hulk, and Thor. With their other big money, big player, Thor, it didn't even feel like he really did anything. He just kind of killed a god butcher. He was heartbroken. It was a good little character arc for him, I guess, but just didn't really add anything of value, I guess. Hawkeye, I still haven't watched that. I'm not going to talk about that one too much. And Hulk was in She-Hulk. I haven't watched that one either just because I heard really bad reviews about it. But it doesn't feel the same. They're just adding in all these new characters and focusing on quantity over quality. And you can really tell that they just care about getting the money, right? Obviously, it's Disney. Disney owns them. But they have so many new shows coming out, so many new characters, Eternal, She-Hulk, all of them, right? It doesn't feel the same as when they were building up to Infinity War. Because when they were building up to Infinity War, that felt beautiful. That felt beautiful. So finally seeing the rise of Thanos. And I know the new big bad is Kang, however you say him. But he isn't even in Phase 4, he's in Phase 5. So hopefully they do better at building up to him. We can sure hope so. But as far as Phase 4, it feels like they were just kind of trying to reestablish Marvel as a whole after they lost their big money makers. Some of them they did a good job in them, some of them they didn't. I understand that. I guess you have to compensate once Iron Man's gone because I feel like Iron Man is the face of Marvel. He was the longest running superhero, plus he is the coolest in my opinion. Spider-Man's still my favorite, but Iron Man's close second. And so yeah, right, you obviously got to add in some new characters. but it just the way they do it just doesn't feel the same at all. And I don't know if the Disney Plus shows are kind of clouding up the water a little bit, kind of making it not feel as authentic, and it just feels too Hollywood. And obviously after Endgame and Infinity War, the two biggest movies of all time, right after Avatar, I can understand how it goes Hollywood. They definitely want that $3 billion mark again, but there's better ways to do it. You can do some fan service with No Way Home. That's perfectly okay with me. You can do some fan service with Deadpool 3 and Wolverine. Perfectly okay with me. But we just need more people. Like Kevin Feige needs to hire an assistant or an assistant president or literally anyone else who is on his level, so that person can care about this many projects while this one cares about this many projects, because they got so many damn things going on now, they barely know what's good with it, you know? So like, how can one man observe all of these things they got going, right? Obviously the quality is going to drop a little bit, and so they just need more help, I feel like. And at Comic-Con, he announced Phase 5 and Phase 6, right? It kicks off with Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, little Secret Invasion TV show. Super excited about that. In Quantumania, that's where Kang, or Kong, however you say it once again, is first introduced. And then we got an Ironheart TV show. We got Echo. We got Captain America New World Order with Sam Wilson as Captain America. We'll see how that turns out. I've always liked the Falcon, so hopefully that's a good movie. We got the Marvels. I personally don't really care about that. I'm not going to cap to you. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Ironheart, Daredevil Born Again, Thunderbolts, Agatha Coven of Chaos, and Blade. Loki Season 2 too, by the way. Guardians of the Galaxy has always been cool. I've always enjoyed the Guardians. I don't really care about their standalone movie. I like them more with the Avengers. Blade, just don't care. Maybe I will. Daredevil Born Again, excited for that. But out of the 10 things they've announced for Phase 4, literally only 2 of them sound interesting enough to me, right? Because they're just introducing all these new characters. Obviously, they're not out yet. Maybe once they are out, I'll have a better opinion about them. But as of this current moment, it's not appealing at all. And mainly because of the fact that it doesn't really feel like it's building anything. I guess we'll see with Ant-Man. The quality isn't as good. It's not as authentic, and it just doesn't feel good. So once Phase 5 transitions out, because I know Phase 4 was basically world building this new Avengers, I guess, the new Marvel world. If Phase 5 doesn't hit at all, leading up into Phase 6, those next 2 Avengers movies will not feel like they used to. Because in Phase 6 so far, we only have Fantastic Four, Avengers The Kang Dynasty, and Avengers Secret Wars. I've heard about these things from the comics. There's 2 Avengers movies there, a Fantastic Four. Excited for the Fantastic Four. I watched the old one when I was a kid. I tried to watch that new one they made a couple years ago. Didn't really get behind it. But Phase 6 has a lot of unannounced things still sitting there. And I know there's going to be a Spider-Man animated series coming out at some point. I'm super excited for that. I personally love Spider-Man animated series. They're going to have Deadpool 3 in there. Deadpool with the Avengers will be super cool to see. And I know Wolverine's coming back once again, even though Hugh Jackman has said multiple times that the Wolverine and Logan were going to be his last Wolverine movies, but he's back again, don't worry. So seeing Wolverine and Deadpool together will be cool, because the last time we saw them was an X-Men Origins Wolverine, if you remember. So it'll be super cool to see their dynamic and how they work, just because Wolverine's like a hard ass, Deadpool is that lighthearted fourth wall breaker, you know, so their dynamic will be really interesting to watch. And I know in that Phase 6 slot, they have a lot of unannounced things. So I assume the next Spider-Man movie will be in one of those. We have the Venom symbiote in the Spider-Man world now. And we got Fantastic Four. We got the X-Men. They'll probably name it New Mutants or the Mutants or something. And they'll probably introduce different ones at different times. And it'll be super dope to see that recreation. The X-Men teaming up with the Avengers would be super dope to see. And I really hope Kang turns out to be a huge, big bad. And I hope Deadpool and Wolverine really hit it off together. And I hope Spider-Man fits in well, because after Spider-Man No Way Home, everyone forgot who he was. So I really hope for at least a little while he has to deal with that grief of watching Aunt May die, everyone forgetting about him, his Spider Bros coming in and they just disappeared. And I really hope for the next few Spider-Man movies, he's just very depressed and sad and has to fight street-level villains, just because that's who Spider-Man is at his core. And like seeing him with the Iron Spider and all the Stark tech was super sick. But it's not really Spider-Man. Spider-Man's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's a relatable high schooler who's broke and in debt, and I can relate to him very well, you know. So I want to see him go through his struggles that he always goes through. And yeah, this is a little bit of a shorter episode today. I've been sick. You can hear it in my voice a little bit. And I wasn't exactly sure how much to cover in this episode. But if you guys like this, if you like hearing me talk about films, let me know. If you want to hear more stuff about films, let me know in the comments. And once again, hit me up on Instagram. If you're on Spotfiy, DYLANDALTON_. Hit me with some questions to talk about at the end of these, maybe some topics to go over, and I'd love to do it. You know what I mean? We're just revamping the podcast, seeing what works. I'm still trying to learn to talk for long periods of time, and I'm still trying to figure out how the podcast system works. One day, like I said, I do want to have guests on this show. It's just a little harder because of where I'm at. I don't really have a studio yet or 2 mics. Discord calls don't really work either. So yeah, it's all a work in progress. It'll be sick, but I'm super excited for the future of it. So I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.